discussing the issues and celebrating the successes of the African American community. This is Another View.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. A few months ago, I had the pleasure of attending opening night for The Color Purple at Chrysler Hall. And I have to tell you, I was shocked at the number of patrons who were very casually dressed. Okay, I'm being polite. In my opinion, inappropriately dressed. I saw everything from a guy in a baseball cap and hoodie to a woman in sweatpants and flip-flops and just about everything else in between. So that got me started thinking about a time when African Americans took great pride in dressing up for special occasions like a play or a concert, or when we dressed up to go to church or to someone's home for dinner. Are we as a community too casual? And what role does our appearance play as part of our collective self-esteem? Joining me to talk about this is Reverend Dr. Kirk T. Houston, pastor of Gethesemane Community Fellowship Baptist Church, Kristina Wright, Miss Hampton Roads 2009, wardrobe consultant Curtis Hollaway, and Dr. Freddye Davy, director of Hampton University's Honors College. Welcome to the program, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I want to start with you, Kristina, because you're the young person in the group, and some of us may have a different perspective. Yeah. What do you think about that, going to a play in something so casual as a hoodie and a baseball cap? First of all, it's inappropriate to wear a hat indoors, but that's another old story.
It is, and I was taught the same thing from my mother as well as my grandmother. So I think I do share the same values. I know some of my friends, they don't feel the same way. I personally, I love to dress up. My parents have always taught me that you want to put your best foot forward, and I feel the best in a cute pair of heels and a purse, but that's just me. But they've also taught my younger brother that as well. But in talking to some of the people that I went to college with, their main focus is I'm here, and I'm experiencing this, and this is something that could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to me. I'm not necessarily worried about what I have on, because I'm not here to be judged. I'm here to see this play, or I'm here to be supportive to this person that's in a pageant or something like that.
But doesn't that say something about the individual if they don't feel it's important enough, if they're here to support a person in the play or in the pageant, that they would feel the necessity to dress up and so that they show a certain manner of respect?
You would think so. I mean, anytime I invite someone to something, I tell them this is what the dress is. It's semi-casual, it's formal, it's coming in jeans and t-shirt, because I feel like my friends are a reflection of me, the people who are around me as well as my family. So I always advise them on what to wear. And a lot of times it dwindles down the numbers. There are some people that won't show up because they feel like they don't have the correct attire. Mm-hmm. But then on the flip side, let's say they want to go to the club, they're in the mall in a heartbeat trying to find something to wear, and it's kind of lopsided, but I think it's just a phase that we go through. I know that as I'm 22 right now and I need to get into the workforce, I've always had dress clothes, but the way you dress, it's kind of different when you get older. Not kind of different, it is different when you get older.
Well, gosh, I mean, it's not like a death sentence. My goodness.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, when I go out, even if I have dress clothes, they think I'm 16 years old. And I'm trying to find a way, because I have a young face, to put more grown-up clothing with a face. And sometimes that's another turnoff for young people. They feel like the clothes just look too old. They make me feel old.
They make you feel old and so forth. From a historical perspective, Freddie, our community, though, used to take a lot of pride in dressing up, and it seems like now, are we just being fuddy-duddies, as she's saying, baby, that they think older people think that this is just a generational thing, or do you think that our society as a whole has just kind of given up on that importance?
I was trying to see if I could think back to when I was her age. That's a long way ago. I think young people have always felt that old folks were old folks, and these were old fashions, and have always rebelled against them. However, the way one dresses was always a code of one's position in society. Now, I think what is probably changing is the code. What you wear is an advertisement. I don't care how you feel about it. You advertise about yourself by the way you dress. And so back in the day, we were taught when and how to advertise for our best advantage. We had Sunday clothes then there were clothes for wearing to school, and then there were play clothes. They are sort of blending now, you know, they're just clothes.
Let me ask you, Kirk, at the church, that was the one place, as you said, we had Sunday clothes. I mean, people used to dress up a lot. Now they tend to come to church much more casually than they did, at least when I was growing up, and I'm sure for everyone. I know that churches, in trying to bring people into church, say, come as you are, but have we taken that too literally?
I think we have. First of all, let me say that our clothes has never been tied to our spirituality, and so I don't think you can mandate biblically what the code of attire ought to be. Historically, the church was and Sunday was a special day, and the church was a special place, and it was the only time for many years that we as people got to dress up, and so we look forward to putting on those Sunday go-to-meeting clothes. But it also was a reflection of how we reverenced the house of God, the place of God, and so we felt that we ought to wear our best for God, even as we would seek to wear our best in other places. But I do think that the standards have really dropped now very low, too low, because I think some of the attire is a disrespect to the house of God when you come with the tank tops or with flip-flops and with body parts showing. I think that's a sense of a kind of an irreverence for the holy place. How do you
address that in your congregation?
Very delicately, because we seek to reach a large population. We are right near Norfolk State University, so we have a lot of students that attend our church, and we really seek to reach out to those who are marginalized and kind of left out in society. And so when you start preaching about clothes from the pulpit, people can easily begin to think that I have to dress a certain way to come here, and I'll never want to send that message. So in Bible study from time to time, I may mention it, talk about it a little bit in a way that I can really expound upon it and teach it without being misunderstood. I don't think Sunday morning is the
right place, is the right time to do that. But also, I mean, you can hold etiquette classes, you could do, I mean, there are other ways to reach out, I guess, to people in terms of guidance.
And you're absolutely right. And for me, there's a broader message. I think you ought to respect the house of the Lord, but I also think you ought to respect yourself. One of the things I find interesting is that when it's time for funerals, too many of our people, now African Americans, especially I would say 30 years, 35 years old and younger, have to go out and purchase clothes for a funeral.
Because they don't have a suit.
They don't have a suit in their wardrobe. So I think that says not only something to us as Christians and how we come to the house of the Lord, but it says something about us as a people that we don't think it's important anymore to purchase or even have in our wardrobe.
And I guess that's the concern that I have also, that we look at this from a community perspective, that we don't think it's that important. But Curtis, let me ask you, how much do you think hip-hop and that generation seriously has played into this? Because truth be told, you know, the hip-hop clothing can cost more than that suit you have on, which you look very nice, by the way. But seriously, I mean, that a shirt or whatever, when you look in and you look at the various hip-hop brand wear, and it's very expensive. So this is not about expense as much as it is the type of clothing.
Right. You know, I do think that hip-hop has played a role in the way that the kids are dressing these days. But I think that there has to be some strong parental guidance there, and I'm thinking in reference to my son, who's 14 years of age, and he's exposed to the hip-hop generation, but he does not wish to follow trends, so to speak. And me myself, I never really followed trends. Even in high school, I would dress and wear. I'm thinking back now to a yearbook picture where I was there with a briefcase and a sport coat and a tie and suit, and this was in as a junior in high school, and even before that. But hip hop does play a role in how the young people are dressing today. And there's a couple of gentlemen came into the store today, not today but earlier this week, and they were looking for employment. And the way that they were dressed, we had to actually pull them to the side before they went anywhere else that day and said, look. And
see, and that's the kind of thing that we have to do, don't we, Freddie? We have to reach out and
absolutely,
teach people.
But wait a minute. You want to hang it on hip-hop. That's what we usually do. We find something to blame.
Right.
I'm old enough to know that we've had fads through every generation, and that it is not uncommon for young people to go with the fad,
Trends.
to follow the trend. I can't remember, though, the fads that were picked up from prison. And that's what we have now, the sagging pants and this sort of thing.
As a matter of fact, you know what, speaking of the sagging pants, we do have a clip of that song that's out now, Pants on the Ground. Can we go to that and take a look at that, and then we can respond on the other side?
Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground, with the gold in your mouth, hat turned sideways, pants hit the ground. Call yourself a cool cat, looking like a fool, walking downtown with your pants on the ground. Get it up. Hey, get your pants off the ground. Looking like a fool, walking, talking with your pants on the ground. Get it up. Hey, get your pants off the ground. Looking like a fool with your pants on the ground, gold in the mouth, hat turned sideways, pants hit the ground. Call yourself a cool cat. Looking like a fool, walking, talking with your pants on the ground. Boom, whoa, pants on the ground. Looking like a fool.
Now they're laughing and obviously having a good time with that, but that's a serious issue for our community right now. Pants on the ground.
Certainly, but you know, let me respond to something that Freddie mentioned. Although I believe in every generation young people follow trends, I don't think that the media and the culture had as great of an effect and impact on us as parenting did. Now we are strongly influenced, I think more so now by the media than we are even by parental guidance. And I think this issue has to be addressed in the home. We have to model it before our children, and we have to teach them what's proper. You mentioned church clothes, school clothes, and play clothes, and that was my wardrobe. You came home from school, you put your play clothes on, and you didn't play in your school clothes, you didn't go to school in your play clothes, you didn't go to church in your play or school clothes. So there were clothes for everything, and now you just have clothes.
Go ahead, Kirk.
I would like to say that if you're wearing something and you're comfortable in it, like for me, for example, I'm comfortable in a suit. When I come home, if I come home from church, most people would like to take off their church clothes or their suit or what have you, but if you're comfortable in your clothing, and it is just clothing, but at the same time, it makes you feel good about yourself. You know, when you know, people wear jeans and things of that nature. Not to say that you don't feel good about yourself, because I mean, there are people, when you think about income and things of that nature, or finances, or people's well-being, there are people who wear jeans and things of that nature who are doing, you know, very well in the communities. But to me, there's just something about a suit.
Freddie's over there dying. Go ahead. Yes. She's over there. Go ahead.
Yes. You're right, the media didn't, because we didn't have any media.
Right, exactly. That's right.
Yeah, we did. Today, students, children can see what we did not have the opportunity to see. You want to put it back in the home, fine, but I'm old enough to know when it wasn't in the home. The people who were parents, and when I was a child, were out in the fields working. And we were taught by teachers. We got the instruction on the proper attire for certain occasions at school. Well, we now have integration where you're bringing in different cultures.
That's right.
If you have one coming from a culture where he can see from his parents what to wear when you're going into business, because he sees his parents going into business every day, then you don't have to put that. You don't have to tell him that at school. It's a part of his life. But you're bringing someone from another culture who must go into the business or the professional culture. There's got to be some instruction. There's got to be some practice there. And not always does the home have that information.
That's very true. As a matter of fact, I went to Bennett College, and that was a huge thing at Bennett where you were taught how to dress properly. You still wore, when I was there in the 70s, and you still had to dress for services, and you had to wear gloves, and you had to do certain things, and they had dinners so that you would learn which fork to use and all of that. Have you experienced that in school?
I actually have, but it was one of those things that you had to pay for. It wasn't widely advertised. It was something you found out maybe if you were a part of that particular group, or if you just happened to run across an email or a flyer that was laying across the ground. And it also depended on what your major was. My younger brother is a freshman at the University of Delaware, and his major is hospitality and hotel management. So his teachers require that he wear a suit and tie or a dress shirt and tie to all of his meetings, because they're teaching him how to do business negotiations. Now, the college life it's so lackadaisical. I mean, I see students go to class in pajamas, and that's it. So when you come out of college and you only have, T-shirts and hoodies and jeans and flip-flops, and you're just thrust into corporate America, you're thinking, well, what opportunities did I have to dress up? There may have been, I went to one dance while I was in college, one, that was sponsored by my school. Now, there were plenty of dances, but some of them were organized by different groups. We had the Black Student Union, we had the Asian, pretty much every culture had a group that they go to, and there were fraternity dances and sorority dances, but it wasn't a big
where you still got very dressed up in order to go and so forth.
Right.
What do you all think this well, let me go ahead and make your point, and then I'll ask the question.
Thank goodness there are still some schools who have it.
Right.
At Hampton, we have a dress code. And dressing is a part of the culture of the university. A student who comes to Hampton gets that kind of instruction. And we design it so that there are reasons and places that you must dress, so that you are comfortable when you get out.
What I wanted to ask is, what do you all think it says about our psyche as a people when we don't dress, when we go to places and we're inappropriately dressed? I mean, I'm just worried that people aren't conscious enough about it for it to make a difference.
I think the reality is that the standards of civility, of etiquette, have all been lowered in society across the board for every race. And in America, standards are just being lowered for everything. And I think now we are much more individualized in our approach to everything. And so people now, even young people, dress, I believe, according to their aspirations, their personality. Those who are more conservative seemed, my son, for instance, when he was at Norfolk State, would wear a shirt with a collar most days. And there were certain days he wore a suit to school. But that was based on his personality. He's a minister now, and he aspired exactly. And so even in church, what I see with the young people is that those that are more modest and conservative in their personality tend to dress that way. Those who aspire to be businessmen or businesswomen or preachers, or those who really look up to certain ladies in the church, will dress a certain way. My 9-year-old granddaughter asked for suits for Christmas this year. And my wife nearly fell over herself trying to get to the store right away before she changed her mind.
Before she changed her mind, absolutely. Curtis.
Now, I wonder sometimes, is it a matter of low self-esteem as well? I see some young men sometimes come into the store and they'll right away say, hey, this is not for me. Again, going back to what you just mentioned as far as the psyche, I still go back to it has to be, and also you mentioned, Ms. Freddye, about the parenting as well. If it's instilled in them, and if you build their dreams and aspirations. My son, again, 14 years of age, wants to be an entrepreneur, and even in his middle school, they had a professional day, and he could not wait to dress up. And he attended, I believe, a class at Howard University as well as a middle school student for a professional day and things of that nature. So, and so we helped grow that when we saw that he had the desire to do that. But again, I don't know if it's an issue of low self-esteem or not. I just wonder sometimes when I see that response when they come into the store.
I think it does have something to do with that. We already know that a casual look of a jean and a T-shirt is acceptable. So when it comes to dressing up, if we don't see that often, we see an Oscars, or they're going to the Grammys, or they're going to some huge award show where they're being honored, or their family member is being honored, and there's no in between. So we don't see people saying, oh my gosh, you look so nice in this, or oh, you should dress up more often. I don't think that as a generation as a whole, they hear that enough. So,
so you think they need more encouragement?
I do.
In order to
I do.
I mean,
to
make
that's
that
how a lot of my male friends. I'm like, you look great in a suit. You should do that more often. And then it's like, really? Oh, you think I'm nice? I'm like, you know. And then it's like, am I the first person?
You learn something new.
Am I the first person that's told you that? You know, so. It does come from that. I mean, and if no one around you is saying anything, then you'll never think about it. So.
But I think self-esteem, self-esteem and self-image is a little different. And I would agree with self-image that it's an indication of our self-image, not always our self-esteem. Sometimes we feel good about ourselves, but we just don't see ourselves a certain way. And it's a little different.
So if we don't see ourselves that way, so we feel good about ourselves.
Exactly.
But we just don't see ourselves in the corporate look or in the whatever look.
Because like Curtis, when I was a boy, when I pictured myself as an adult, it was always with a suit and tie on. That was the image I had of myself.
Because again, once the aspirations, but then again, depending on which business you decide to go in now, your attire, as you said, could be anywhere. Somebody said to me, and we've got less than a minute, that Hampton Roads is just casual anyway because it's a coastal area and it's a resort area, and so it should be excused. Your last minute opinion on that? I'll start with you, Freddie.
My last minute opinion is that you just need to know when and where to do.
Okay. What about you, Curtis?
Well, again, we've had some gentlemen come into our store, older gentlemen who just love to dress and put on clothes, even if they're not going anywhere. And they said maybe there aren't enough, maybe professional venues or things of that nature in the area that you know you're required to do those things.
10 seconds.
I'm agreeing with them. Hampton Roads is not. It's not like that. It's just there are more opportunities to do the
to
dress
be able
up
to dress
thing.
up anyway.
Yeah.
Someone said it earlier. There's a time and a place for everything.
Absolutely. You know, I could talk about this all afternoon. You guys were great. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about this issue, because I think it's something important for our community to consider and to think about. So thanks for joining me. And when we come back, how one group is determined to make a difference in the lives of inner city youth. But first, here's what's happening in Hampton Roads. Welcome back. Lately, there's been a call to action for mentors in our community. The image that usually comes to mind is an adult spending time with a child. But our Lisa Godley recently visited a program where young people are mentoring even younger people on the flip side.
Okay, guys, we're going to get started. Flip side. Flip side stands for what, y'all?
Opposite side of the wrong side.
These Northside Middle School students are on a mission to do the right thing. So once a week, for about an hour, they meet with their mentors, who are just a few years older than they are, just to talk.
I like it because we get to gather around and we get to talk about what we done with all our friends and stuff, and you get to socialize with the high schoolers, and they tell you what it's like to go to high school and stuff.
It's fun. You get to meet some kids, you get to learn little life lessons like how to deal with different people in different situations and how to be a leader and how to plan and all those special things.
Every day I see my mentee, I ask him, that's the first thing I ask him, how your grades going along? How you doing in your classes? He showed me his grades look good.
And sometimes it's fun time.
This is called Black History Knowledge Game. It's kind of in the form of win, lose, or draw.
Top female vocal singer of 09.
Go ahead.
This is Beyonce?
Beyonce, yeah.
Flipside is an arm of the Yours Ministry, which is an acronym for Youth Outreach Urban Resources and Services, and targets middle and high school age students. The man spearheading it all is founder Robert Goodrum.
Flipside stands for the opposite side of the wrong side. So we tell kids, you're going to get involved with us. Your goal is that you're going to start doing what is right. You're going to start being positive. Maybe you haven't been, but now that you're part of the flip side, we're expecting you to start that process. The mentors are required to get to know their kids, try to find out what's going on with them, Also be a friend to them, so they're also required to give the kid a call at least once a week, maybe twice a week. If the kid want to call them, they can call them, or they can talk to each other.
The program focuses on 4 different aspects: life issues, educational enhancement, spiritual awareness, and social skills building, so the kids can have a little fun.
And when we're going out trips, they get to hang out with their mentor a little more and having some fun aspects, so they get to see a different side of their mentor. Not only just here in the group setting, but also now they get to laugh with them and joke with them.
And those field trips definitely make a lasting impression on both the mentors and the mentees.
One time we went up to Eagle Eye, which is like a little camp.
I went to the bowling field trip, and it was really fun.
Florida, Disney World.
Well, I went to a skating rink, and it was pretty fun.
We had a laser tag, and they said, "Mr. Rob, this is the best thing that could ever happen to me in my life. I'm getting to do things that I never thought I'd be able to do." And that's what we offer them.
That, coupled with guidance, is designed to steer both the mentors and mentees down the path to a productive and fulfilling life. For Another View, I'm Lisa Godley.
And thank you for joining us this evening for Another View. As always, we invite you to visit our website, anotherview.tv. There you will find past episodes of our program, and you can also sign up for our eView newsletter. Next week, Black and Green, how African Americans are playing a critical role in the Green Movement. See you next week on Another View.